What is going on, guys, and welcome to the WWE Raw Review for the 11th of July, Monday's show. We're 2 weeks away, or I suppose we've got one Raw left before the brand split kicks in to Raw. So one Raw with both superstars, with all superstars eligible on the brand to go. And Raw was a mixed bag. I enjoyed the show for the most part. I just find 3 hours is just tough to sit through. And I do feel like the show should be taken down to 2.5 hours. I know that's a stupid number to say, but I feel 2.5 hours is enough for a show. It doesn't need to be 3 hours time. And although there's only an extra half an hour, it does just make the show... You get what you call fillers. You get parts that are just there to just make it so that it lasts 3 hours, and they're the really shitty matches that, hell, if they weren't there, you probably wouldn't know the difference, and the show would flow a lot better. But let's start then with the first part of the night. We'll go through it systematically and chronologically as always, and it was the Battle Royal for the Intercontinental Championship held by The Miz, and I always like Battle Royals more than what I probably should do. There was a couple of funny spots in this match. I think at one point Apollo Crews was called Titus O'Neil by JBL. That was hilarious. We then saw... I liked how Baron Corbin was just tossing people around the ring. That was something really entertaining from this match. And it just shows what the company want to do with him post-draft. It looks like he is going to be a big contender. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was holding the Intercontinental Championship or the United States Championship by the end of the year. I think Corbin's rise will only pick up with the draft coming. Apollo Crews looked good as well. At one point, I did genuinely think he was the one to win, but Darren Young, seeing weeks and weeks of them Bob Backlund segments on Raw, and with Bob Backlund by his side, Darren Young has, I don't know, the first, what feels like, sorry, the microphone keeps falling down, the first, what feels like, championship match in a long time. And yeah, I'm more than happy. Just let me move the microphone, get it all sorted out. That's better. Yeah, do I think he'll beat The Miz? I genuinely think it's a possibility. I thought Miz would drop the title at Battleground, and it looks like he's facing Darren Young, so the fact he's facing Darren Young makes me think maybe Miz isn't going to drop the title, but it's an interesting one nonetheless. And whether this is just because they don't want to start a meaningful feud now that the brand's going to split and they just want to put some randomer and give them a chance, and whether that's why Darren Young's got the shot, or whether this is a Darren Young push, I don't know. But yeah, it's a nice change to see someone different go for a title, and it will be interesting to see how Darren Young fares at Battleground against The Miz and whether he can win the Intercontinental Championship or not. Let's move on to the next part of the show. So yeah, a decent way to start the show. A unique way to start the show as well. Jesus, we've been craving a match to start Raw, and finally we get one. The next match was Zack Ryder versus Sheamus. And just a word on SmackDown. This match was on SmackDown. I'm not doing reviews for SmackDown this week or the last week and then this week, just because there's no real point. When the draft kicks in and we have our first SmackDown Live, etc., then of course I'll be starting to do reviews of SmackDown each and every week, but I feel like it's not necessary in these final couple of episodes of SmackDown as it is. But yeah, the match was short. Nothing really happened. Sheamus picking up the victory, which was a little bit of a surprise, being so Zack Ryder's being sort of made or pushed into a match, well, not pushed in, but he's trying to be built up to be a credible threat to Rusev, and I just don't think he is a credible threat. I don't understand how we're expected to treat him as a credible threat to Rusev. He lost the match, and then Rusev and Zack Ryder seem to be challenging each other in the next couple of weeks, or Rusev accepted Zack Ryder's challenge in the post-match attack. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Why surely Sheamus, who just beat Zack Ryder, who is more willing, is more deserving of a title match than Zack Ryder. Admittedly, I know that would be heel, so it wouldn't make sense, but I just felt like this didn't make sense. And let's be honest, Zack Ryder's never going to beat Rusev for the United States Championship. It's not going to happen. So a pretty illogical match, followed by another kind of illogical match, but I kind of get it. This is what I call a filler match. No real reason for it to be in the show other than to kind of boost it, just basically make the show 3 hours. And it was the Lucha Dragons versus Breeze Dango. Breeze Dango with the win, which was ever so slightly surprising. For the better, I like the team. I think they should be. I think they'll be good in the tag team division. I think the brand split will benefit them. And I like the idea of the Lucha Dragons being split up in the brand extension. I do like that idea of seeing Kalisto and Sin Cara go their separate ways. I think WWE Tribute mentioned that in his comment on my brand split video, and I like that a lot. So yeah, this match was an okay match. We had a botch by Kalisto, which was quite funny. But then again, luckily he didn't get hurt. It would have been funny if he'd got hurt. Luckily, he didn't get hurt. But that's the kind of risk that you take when you have that high flying momentum. But yeah, Breeze Dango with the win, as I say, a bit surprising, clean victory. Be interesting to see where they go from here. And it does suggest that the Lucha Dragons will be split up for the draft, with them losing here today. So, you know, an okay match, but not much more to talk about it from that. That didn't make any sense. I do apologise. The Rollins report then. Apologies, my voice sounds stupid. I got a really sore throat. I just feel a bit under the weather today. So apologies if this was a pretty shit review. But then again, they're all shit, so it doesn't really make much difference to it. Seth Rollins came out, done the Rollins report. Funny sort of bit with Roman Reigns, where because I knew it was not going to be something genuine, and he'd obviously Rollins hadn't edited it, but they'd edited it basically where Roman was in another interview, most probably with Michael Cole, and from months ago. And Rollins was asking the question. You saw it. It was a clever bit of work from WWE, and yeah, it was quite funny to say the least. Dean Ambrose came out and cut a very, very, very good promo, and that's the Dean Ambrose that I like. That crazy psychopathic Dean Ambrose that when he just snaps and he goes crazy, and he talks from the heart, and you just believe every single word that he said. He took shots at Roman Reigns. He took shots at Brock Lesnar. He did take shots at people, and it felt heartfelt. It felt like Ambrose was talking from his genuine heart, what he honestly believed. And yeah, I loved the segment as a whole. Seth Rollins held his own as always, but that is the Dean Ambrose that I like to see. And next week we have a one-on-one match between Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Expect a Dean Ambrose regain, but you just never ever know. Yeah, I love this segment. Fantastic segment. And these two carrying the segment, it just shows how Reigns is not in their league. That these two are on another level. And Roman Reigns, I'm glad he's suspended, because he would be pulling back this feud. Another great segment, the second top segment in a row from this storyline. We had it last week with the Rollins segment on top of on top of the announce table after the match, and we have another one this week, and that shows a good feud. We then had Kevin Owens versus Cesaro. We've seen this match quite a lot, and I do expect these two to be drafted to different shows. I'm hoping Owens goes SmackDown, because I just love Kevin Owens, and I want Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I don't know how it's all going to work out, but anyway, yeah, great match. Sami Zayn was escorted away from commentary. That was an interesting thing. And what I like about this feud is it's got to that personal stage where these two cannot be together. They cannot be near each other without punching each other in the face. And it feels genuine. It doesn't feel forced. And that is the sign of a personal feud. And I can't wait for these two to face in what will be the match of the night at Battleground. We saw Sami Zayn take a shot at Kevin Owens while he's being escorted backstage. They had a little bit of a brawl. And I was fully expecting Zayn to jump over the barricade and to basically interfere in this match and cost Owens the match, or just interfere. But it didn't happen. Owens won the match cleanly. Rightful decision if you can have someone win clean, especially with his match against Sami Zayn in the offing. And Cesaro now just waiting, along with a lot of other superstars, for the brand split and for him to become to hold a bigger place in WWE, because when you split the roster in half, then people that were kind of mid-card mid to upper card at the moment will rise to upper card. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they utilise Cesaro post brand in the brand extension really. But yeah, after the match, Sami Zayn then jumped the ropes. They attacked again. That fight, as I say, that personal rival, that personal touch, very, very good. Fantastic match as well. Hardly surprised. I don't even need to say that. Cesaro versus Kevin Owens, you put them in the ring, they could go all night and it would be entertaining. So yeah, nice way to develop this storyline. And another top segment. And it kind of added to we kind of had two top segments so far, or two top things that happened on Raw. The Rollins report and then the Cesaro Owens Zayn part, so it's always good when you get, for a good show, you usually have three, and we'll have to wait and see whether there's a third top match stroke segment to come along. Titus O'Neil versus Heath Slater certainly wasn't that. Nice to see Titus O'Neil's strength, but we all know that he's strong. I'm just not convinced with him. And Heath Slater, social outcast, I really couldn't care about. This was another match that was just there to fill time and to make sure the show lasted 3 hours, and that's why I don't feel like the show should be 3 hours, because you took this match away and took whatever else I said was a filler away. You could make a 2.5 hour show quite easily that would run and be very, very entertaining. You wouldn't get these crappy segments that just put you to sleep. O'Neil won, I think. Did he? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't care. Let's move on. We then saw the New Day visit the Wyatt Family barn, driveway, what were they calling it, compound or something like that. This feud has really kicked into gear. It needed to. And this is another feud that's had two good segments in a row. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It felt like something different. It felt like something I've not seen by WWE before. And they should certainly do this more often, especially with the Wyatt family. It's a perfect way to create these kind of strange segments, but unique, different segments. I liked it a lot. At one point, they kind of hinted with the idea of Xavier Woods being possibly abducted and other stuff that they hinted at. Loved this. Thought it was fantastic. Not as good as their last segment, just because last week's was just that showed that first sign of weakness, but it wasn't too bad at all, to say the least. The New Day versus Wyatt Family could be, dare I say, after a shaky start, the feud of the summer, the feud of the year. I'm going to put that out there right now. But I did love this. And yeah, we saw people being chucked into cars, weapons being shown. Braun Strowman looked like a beast. The Wyatt Family looked like beasts. The New Day didn't come out of it looking weak. They just came out of it looking a little bit naive. Why go to the New Day's? Why go to the Wyatt Family's playground? You're going to get what you get. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this feud develops. But a very, very enjoyable segment on Monday Night Raw. We then saw Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. The club moaning that John Cena wasn't there, saying, oh, Enzo, Cassidy doesn't care about you. I'll have to wait and see whether John Cena did turn up in the end. Well, obviously you watched the show, so he did. I honestly was quite shocked when Cena came. I believed that he was in LA, so it surprised me, to say the least, but it was nice to see. And amazing. Again, just shows how much he works and how he just flies everywhere. And how much he just still loves WWE. It is admirable. And Cena literally got a chant, not a Cena sucks chant. He just got a Cena chant, which from a Detroit crowd was something pretty special. We then saw, but we're talking about this match, and it really showed me how far the tag team division has developed. I mean, these aren't tag team champions, but they were getting a reaction, both teams, that was pretty immense. We were seeing the crowd were hot for this match. They really, really were. And the match itself was okay. There wasn't really much on the line, so it was never really going to be anything that special. But the way the crowd reacted to this match was certainly one to say well done to the tag team division as a whole for really rediscovering and redeveloping themselves. And that's only going to get better. And yeah. I don't know who won. I don't think anyone did win. I think it was a disqualification. It was a disqualification, so I suppose technically Enzo Amore, Colin Cassidy won. But AJ, yeah, they would have done, because AJ Styles pushed Cass over the thing. Then it looked like we were going to see a beat down on Enzo Amore by the club, but John Cena came out and made the save. As I say, Cena getting cheered by the Detroit crowd loudly. No boos in sight. I'm looking forward to this match at WrestleMania, Battleground even. We then saw Sasha Banks vs Dana Brooks. Now, I was impressed with Dana Brooks a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown in the match she had with, Billy Kay or Billy Key, whatever her name is. I was impressed with that. But she was disappointing tonight. Really, really disappointed me. It felt sluggish. It felt sloppy. She felt like... I mean, you knew Sasha was in another level, and that's fine because Sasha is, but she felt like she was struggling to hold her own, and that's a little bit worrying to say the least. It's going to take time, and I feel like there were better people in NXT to be called up who were more deserving and more ready than Dana Brooke. But you've gone with her now. You got to stick with her, and I think the more time she gets in the ring with Sasha Banks, the Becky Lynches, the Charlottes, the Natalias, the Paiges of the world, she will improve. And in a year's time, we'll be looking back and saying, looking at this type of match and going, wow, how much Dana Brooke has improved. Sasha Banks won the match. It got a segment or so, and they will have a rematch on SmackDown. And basically, if she wins, I think she basically gets a title match. A Battleground. So, yeah, Charlotte cut a little promo at the end of the match, which was okay. And, yeah, we then saw the final bit of the show, which was Vince McMahon coming out. I just feel like these are so raw and so unscripted. They often do become a bit awkward with the McMahon family. And, yeah, just a little bit confusing. It takes you half an hour to basically take from it what you're meant to take from it, if you see what I'm saying, and they often drag out as well. But it was all right. Essentially, if we paraphrase, we won't talk too much about what happened in this segment, but Stephanie is the commissioner of Raw, Shane McMahon, the commissioner of SmackDown. Next week, they're going to appoint their general managers. I like the idea of a general manager and a commissioner who's a bit more behind the scenes, and then an actual general manager who's there every week and going to be doing the show. It'd be interesting to see who the general managers are. Paul Heyman. I'd love to see Paul Heyman as a general manager of SmackDown, going back to the days when SmackDown was so awesome that Vince McMahon got so upset and basically shat on it. And, you know, I like the whole idea. I like the kind of rivalry. They hinted at the Shane Triple H feud if that happens. Wouldn't be surprised if Stephanie McMahon's general manager is Triple H. Not a spoiler alert, but that would be if I had to make a prediction, what I predict. And Shane's general manager is anybody's guess, really. It really could be practically anybody in the whole entire world. Yeah. What else was I going to say about this? There was something I really wanted to say. Oh yeah, that was it. That Shane mentioned that he wanted to bring a whole new feel to the show, and that's so important that we get different feels for the show. And I don't mean physical feel. I mean, you know, a non-physical feel. And it's hard to develop that, and it's very hard to make that come to fruition. But if you can get SmackDown having a really unique feel to it and Raw a really unique feel to it, you've done half the job. The sets as well, I expect them to change from what Shane McMahon was saying. A whole new feel, a whole new look to SmackDown suggests to me that the set will change. Music will probably change as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. What was I going to say? Everything's just flying out my mind. You can tell that I'm not feeling 100%. There was something else that I wanted to say, and it's going to annoy me because I do not want to edit this. I just want to send it over, get it uploaded, and be done with it. That sounds like I don't care about what I upload. It's just easier than going through and working out where the hell I fucked up, basically. Bollocks. I can't think what I was going to say. Brand split. Shane McMahon. Stephanie. This is really going to piss me off. Oh, that was it. Vince McMahon, and I know that this is probably not genuine. He's not honestly letting Shane and Stephanie completely control it. I'm not talking storyline sense, I'm talking in real life now. But I would love to see that. I'd love to see it to be a genuine battle. I don't know. I don't think that's what's going to happen. You still feel like Vince McMahon will be and will have the majority say in this, but I'd love to see Shane run his show. I'd love to see a draft where they've genuinely not thought about what they're doing, and they get on that draft and they genuinely draft people. They honestly pick who they want, and we see it as Raw. That makes it feel so much less scripted. And I know that there's probably going to be plans in for SummerSlam, so there has to be people that go to certain Raws, so I suppose it's not possible. But I certainly hope that they do genuinely run the show from a backstage point of view, and we can see who can make the better show, because that competitive element really does make for compelling TV. And it will be interesting to see who comes out on top. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that the SmackDown will be running rampant and will overtake Raw for ratings. You heard it here first. And when that happens, expect Vince McMahon to once again shit on SmackDown. And that's always going to be the problem with the brand split. He wants Raw to be the flagship show. He even said it in his promo, so he's never really going to let SmackDown be all that good. Anyway, that is it for this Raw review. A B, I'll give it exactly the same as what it was last week. B- show. Parts you want to see, parts you don't want to see. You could probably read about the last segment, but the Wyatt segment, the Rollins report, and the Cesaro Kevin Owens, there would be the three things that I'd say you had to watch. I wouldn't say it was a must-see Raw. I wouldn't say that you'd be miles behind if you missed anything. But, yeah, storylines developing. Battleground a couple of weeks away. And SmackDown Live today is 1 week away. Would you believe it? Thursday night, the last episode of SmackDown before the brand extension will probably be a show full of just random matches, random things, random shit. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Goodbye. See you next week. I don't know why I said that. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.